You can buy a horse for $3,000. You'll spend $15,000 keeping it alive for the next 12 months. And that's if nothing goes wrong. The purchase price of a horse is somewhere between 10 and 15% of what you'll actually spend in year one. A $3,000 horse and a $30,000 horse cost roughly the same amount to feed, shoe, and keep breathing. The horse doesn't know what you paid for it. Its digestive system, its hooves, its teeth, none of that adjusts to your budget. So what does that $3,000 actually buy you? The beginner suitable recreational horse in the United States runs $3,000 to $5,000. That's the number people fixate on. That's the number they save up. And that's the number that represents the smallest financial decision they'll make in this entire process. It's like celebrating that you bought a boat, while ignoring that you now have to dock, fuel, maintain, and insure a boat for the next 25 to 30 years. Because that's how long horses live. A horse purchased at age 5 is still alive when you're 55 or 60. This isn't a purchase. It's a commitment measured in decades. Then there's the free horse. Someone offers you a horse for nothing. Maybe a friend's retiring mare. Maybe a Craigslist ad that says, "Free to good home." Free horses are the most expensive horses. A horse given away for $0 frequently arrives with thousands in deferred maintenance. Navicular changes nobody mentioned. Dental issues nobody addressed. Hoof problems nobody corrected. One woman in Ohio picked up a 12-year-old quarter horse off Craigslist for $500. She skipped the $350 pre-purchase exam. Why bother, right? The horse was practically free. Within 6 months, corrective shoeing at $4,200, joint injections at $2,800, routine Farrier at $1,200, boarding at $9,600. Year one total, $18,300. For a cheap horse. That $350 pre-purchase exam would have revealed the navicular changes before she signed anything. The exam isn't an expense. It's the cheapest insurance in the entire equation. The recurring costs. The big three: board, feed, Farrier. Non-negotiable, non-seasonal, non-optional. Your horse needs them whether you ride this month or not. Board. Keeping a horse on your own land with pasture-only self-care in a rural area, you're looking at $300 a month. But you're also building fences, maintaining pasture, hauling your own hay, and mucking your own stalls. Full board at a stable averages $800 to $1,200 a month nationally. In Southern California or the Northeast Corridor, $2,500 a month and up. That's $30,000 a year just for a parking spot with hay. In 2015, the national average for full board was $600 a month. Today, it's $1,000. A 67% increase in 8 years. Feed. An 1,100-pound horse eats 2 to 2.5% of its body weight in forage daily. 22 to 27 pounds of hay. Every single day. Your horse eats better than you do. Hay at $150 to $350 a month, plus grain, plus supplements. Many owners spend more on their horse's diet than their own grocery bill. Hay prices have nearly doubled in 5 years. The USDA tracked average hay at $150 per ton in 2018. By 2023, $280 to $340 per ton. An 80 to 100% increase, with no sign of reversing. Farrier, every 6 to 8 weeks. Not optional, does not flex. Hooves grow whether you have the money or not. A basic barefoot trim runs $35 to $50. A full set of shoes, $125 to $250. Over a year, that's $480 at the absolute minimum. Barefoot horse, cheapest farrier in the county, nothing goes wrong. Or $2,000 plus for a horse that needs shoes. In 2005, the average full set cost $80. Today, it's $200. 150% increase. Farriers will tell you, the horses that go lame are the ones whose owners decided to stretch appointments from 6 weeks to 10. False economy with consequences. And we haven't even talked about the vet yet. Routine annual veterinary care for a healthy horse, vaccines, deworming, Coggins test, basic exam, runs $485 to $800. Annual dental floating, where the vet files down the sharp edges that naturally develop on horse teeth, costs another $100 to $250. Horses' teeth grow continuously. Skip the dental, and you get a horse that can't chew properly, loses weight, develops behavioral problems. The vet and the dentist aren't luxuries. They're maintenance. Routine isn't what breaks you, though. What breaks you is the 2 a.m. phone call. Your horse is colicking, rolling, sweating, refusing to eat. You call the emergency vet. After-hours farm call surcharge, $200 to $500 just to show up. Exam, pain management, monitoring. If it doesn't resolve, you're hauling to a surgical hospital at midnight and facing a quote of $8,000 to $12,000 for colic surgery. One event writer in Virginia went through exactly this. Surgery, quote, $9,500. Her horse was insured. She'd been paying $3,200 a year in premiums, but the policy had a $1,000 deductible and 20% copay. Still left $2,900 out of pocket. The horse survived, then needed 4 months of stall rest, additional $4,800 in board during recovery. With insurance. This is why every equine financial advisor says the same thing. You need $3,000 to $5,000 in liquid emergency savings at all times. Not invested, not in a retirement account. Cash you can access at 2 a.m. on a Sunday when someone in scrubs is asking you yes or no on a surgery authorization. The insurance debate is real. For a horse valued over $10,000, the math tends to favor coverage. Mortality insurance runs 3 to 5% of appraised value annually. Major medical adds another 2.5 to 3.5%. For a horse worth $5,000, you'll pay more in premiums over a decade than you'd likely spend out of pocket. Self-insuring through a dedicated savings account is rational for lower-value horses. Neither answer is wrong. But having no plan at all, no insurance, and no savings, that's the answer that leads to GoFundMe campaigns. The line items nobody mentions until you're already in it. Tack. A basic setup, saddle, bridle, pad, girth, starts at $1,500 for English, $1,000 for Western. Entry level. Saddles wear out, leather cracks, girths fray. Budget $1,500 to $3,000 for the initial kit and expect to replace pieces every few years. Training. If you're developing a young horse or working on specific skills, a professional trainer runs $800 to $1,500 a month. Per month. That's $9,600 to $18,000 a year for someone who doesn't live at your barn and doesn't answer your texts after 6 p.m. Transport. Professional equine hauling averages $1.50 to $3 per loaded mile. One show weekend 200 miles away, $300 to $600 round trip. That's before entry fees, stall fees at the venue, or the hotel room for you. Miscellaneous. Fly spray, blankets, supplements, grooming supplies, replacement halters, first aid supplies. $50 to $150 a month, $600 to $1,800 a year in things that feel trivial individually and add up relentlessly. Time. The cost nobody puts on a spreadsheet. A self-care boarded horse requires 10 to 15 hours per week, feeding, mucking, turnout, riding, and the 100 small tasks that fill the gaps. Even full board owners, people paying someone else to handle daily care, spend 6 to 10 hours a week at the barn. That's the Wednesday morning, 6 a.m. stall mucking in January, fingers numb, manure fork frozen to the wheelbarrow. The romantic image of cantering through fields at sunset exists. It represents maybe 10% of actual horse ownership hours. Where do owners overspend? Supplements without veterinary guidance. The equine supplement industry is largely unregulated and very good at marketing anxiety. Expensive tack upgrades that the horse doesn't care about. Training gadgets that replace actual instruction. The psychology is straightforward. I already spent $3,000 on the horse. What's another $200? Death by 1,000 swipes. Where do owners underspend? Emergency funds, dental care, quality hay. Cheap hay leads to vet bills, which cost more than the good hay would have. Pre-purchase exams. The pattern is consistent. Owners cut corners on prevention and pay triple for treatment. 60% of first-time horse buyers underestimate their costs by 50% or more. That's not a guess. That's survey data. A realistic first-year budget. Low end, pasture-kept horse. Rural area, self-care, barefoot. Nothing goes wrong. $14,000. Purchase at $3,000. Board equivalent at $3,600. Feed at $2,400. Farrier at $480. Vet and dental at $800. Starter tack at $1,500. Emergency fund contribution at $2,000. Miscellaneous at $600. $14,380. Minimum. The cheapest possible version of horse ownership. Mid-range, suburban boarding facility, shoes, moderate vet needs. $25,800. High-end, metro full-service barn, competition horse, full insurance, $51,500 and up. Lucinda Green, the Olympic event rider, once calculated the lifetime cost of keeping one horse at competition level over 25 years. $300,000. She wasn't exaggerating for effect. She was trying to save aspiring riders from walking in blind. Horses aren't expensive because the industry is broken. They're expensive because you're keeping an 1,100-pound athlete alive, sound, and healthy for a quarter century. The purchase price is the door fee. Everything after that is the actual cost of admission. Know the numbers before you commit. 60% of people don't. Be in the other 40.